Look out, folks, Beam Firearms just stepped back on the scene. Let's roll! Have you ever taken a second to really think about how thin the line is between everyday life and full-blown chaos? There's an old saying folks out here know well: civilization is only 3 meals deep. Miss breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and watch how quick the rules we all take for granted just evaporate like fog in a dry wind. When the semis stop rolling, when grocery shelves turn to dust, and the grid goes black with no promise of coming back. The world shifts, and it does it fast. At that point, it's not about whether you're ready. It's about how ready you are. Now, for folks who live by the code of self-reliance not as some theory, but as a daily mindset, your gear isn't just stuff. It's your lifeline. And I'm not just talking rifles and pistols here. I'm talking about the kind of trusted tools that offer protection, provide sustenance, and maybe, just maybe, give you a sliver of peace when the rest of the world falls apart. So in this piece, we're taking a long, honest look at 5 firearms I believe every well-prepared American ought to have on hand if society ever decides to check out for good. These aren't just hunks of metal and molded polymer. These are lifesavers, plain and simple. Let's dig in. The revolver .357 Magnum. Now let's say things have taken a hard turn, grids down, roads are empty, and you're deep out in the backcountry. Maybe you're stalking elk. Maybe you're keeping first watch around a lonely fire. Whatever the case, all them high-capacity, plastic-framed pistols folks like to brag about start feeling just a little too delicate. That's when you reach for something with some grit, a good old-fashioned revolver chambered in .357 Magnum. And I ain't just spinning yarns here. Guns like the Smith & Wesson Model 686 or the Ruger GP100 weren't built for showrooms, they were built for the long haul. Solid stainless frames, thick barrels, tight tolerances. These things are brick houses dressed as sidearms, and they'll take more abuse than most men can handle. The .357 Magnum round itself rolled out back in 1934, born out of a need to stop hard targets whether they barked, charged, or drove straight through roadblocks. Full house loads out of one of these revolvers don't just punch, they flatten. And if that ain't enough, you can step it down and run .38. Special for cheap practice or lighter recoil. No drama, no tuning, no magazine lips to bend or extractors to fuss with. That's the real charm of a revolver. It just works. No stovepipes, no slide bites, no tap rack bang training scars. Just pull the hammer, squeeze the trigger, and it answers back every time. Rain, snow, or the inside of your truck's glove box, it doesn't care. Now sure, it ain't perfect. You're usually working with 6 or maybe 7 shots, and reloading's not exactly a NASCAR pit stop, even with a practiced thumb and a good speed loader. And when you're running the real deal Magnum loads, that recoil ain't gonna whisper. It's gonna talk to your wrist like a pissed off mule, but in exchange, you get something money can't fake: absolute, bulletproof reliability. You can stash a revolver in a truck console for a decade, pull it out when the wolves are howling, and bet your life it'll still go bang. As for cost, expect to part with somewhere between $700 and $1,000 for one of these iron-backed workhorses. Might feel steep, but let's be honest, this ain't a range toy. It's an heirloom. One of those pieces that'll be sitting in a worn leather holster when your grandkid opens the gun safe in 20 years and says, "Yup, this one still smells like Grandpa." In a world choked full of plastic ports and gimmicks, that'll jam when it matters most. A .357 Magnum revolver is the real deal, iron straight talkin', hard hittin', and as trustworthy as sunrise in a cold valley. The DMR .308 7.62 by 51 rifle. When things go sideways and the world quits playing fair, reaching out with precision ain't just a luxury anymore, it's downright necessary. That's where a designated marksman rifle, or DMR, earns its keep. And when it comes to caliber, .308 Winchester or 7.62 by 51 NATO, if you want to be formal, is what folks around here call tried and true. Now, this ain't your standard issue patrol rifle. A good DMR sits right in that sweet spot between a close-quarters carbine and a long-range sniper rig. Built for consistency, built for accuracy, and built to reach, but it still gives you the speed and adaptability of a semi-auto setup. In rough country or open land, that kind of versatility matters. A couple of solid choices come to mind right off the bat. First up, the Springfield Armory M1, a SOCOM 16, a leaner, meaner version of the old M14. Still got that 308 backbone, just trimmed down for better handling when things get tight. Or if you're after something modular with a little more room to tinker, a well-built AR-10 will do you proud. With the right barrel and good glass, you can squeeze sub-minute of angle accuracy out that platform all day long. Both options serve up that heavier cartridge, the kind that hits like a sledgehammer and doesn't run out of steam after a couple hundred yards. You're looking at clean, effective shots out to 400, 600, maybe even 800 yards provided your trigger pulls steady and your zeros tight. Rifles like these come into their own for holding down your property line out in the sticks, watching over long stretches of open country or draw, stopping threats that are hiding behind cover or wearing armor, putting meat on the pole, think elk or wild hogs when the freezer's running low. Of course, every coin's got two sides. Weight: these rifles are no lightweights. The steel, the longer barrels, and the ammo all add up. You'll feel it slung across your back or dragging on a long hike. Recoil not unbearable, but she kicks harder than your standard 5.56. You'll want to practice. Quality costs. A Springfield M1, a SOCOM 16, will set you back somewhere between $1,700 and $2,200. A good AR-10 starts in that ballpark and climbs fast when you start adding premium barrels, precision triggers, and good optics. But here's the thing, you're not just buying a rifle, you're buying peace of mind. When the roads go quiet, the nearest sheriff's 2 days away, and it's just you and that wide-open skyline. A DMR gives you a say in what happens next, and in these uncertain times, that kind of say-so might just be what keeps you standing. The sidearm Glock 17, Glock 19. Let's start where every survival-minded loadout should, with a sidearm, the kind of tool you keep close when a long gun ain't practical. And when it comes to pistols that have stood the test of time, it's hard to beat the Glock 17 and Glock 19. Born in Austria in the early 1980s, designed by a man named Gaston Glock, these striker-fired, polymer-framed handguns turned the pistol world on its ear. The Austrian military adopted the Glock 17 in 1982, and from there, the legend only grew. So what's the secret sauce? 3 things: simplicity, durability, and battlefield-proven performance. The Glock 17 carries 17 rounds, while the slightly more compact Glock 19 packs 15. That's a whole lot of firepower in a lightweight, no-frills platform. Add in Glock's safe action trigger system, and you've got a sidearm that's easy to operate, even under stress. They're built to take abuse dropped in the dirt, dunked in a creek, left out in the cold, and they still run. That's why preppers, cops, and soldiers the world over keep one in arm's reach. Now sure, some folks gripe about the grip angle or say the trigger's a bit mushy. But that's just personal taste. When the chips are down, you want a pistol that'll run every time you squeeze the trigger. No questions asked. Expect to pay somewhere between $500 and $650 depending on the model and generation. Want other solid contenders in this class? Take a look at the SIG Sauer P320 or the Beretta 92 FS. Both rugged, time-tested pistols that have earned their stripes in real-world service. Bottom line, if you can only keep one handgun around when things get ugly, make sure it's one you can bet your life on. The lever-action rifle. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about a rifle that feels like it was built for folks who know the value of grit, elbow grease, and making every shot count. I'm talking about the good old lever action, a firearm as at home in a saddle scabbard as it is behind the seat of a dusty pickup. Now sure, these rifles might not get the spotlight like your ARs or AKs these days. But when it comes to rugged simplicity and old-school utility, the lever gun still holds its own in any serious preparedness setup. Think Marlin 1894 chambered in, 38 Special, 357 Magnum, or 44 Magnum. Or the Marlin 336 and Henry Big Boy in that classic 30-30 Winchester, a cartridge that's been putting meat on tables since your great-granddad's time. These rifles were born in the late 1800s and became the workhorse of the American frontier. They're straightforward, reliable, and handle like a dream thanks to their balance and natural pointing. The side-loading gate or under-barrel tube makes topping them off simple, even if a bit slower than today's detachable mags. Now here's the kicker, a lever gun chambered in revolver calibers, that's a prepper's dream. One round feeds your handgun and your rifle, streamlining ammo storage and making resupply a whole lot easier when things go sideways. The 30-30 still holds up, too, a proven deer round with enough reach for 150 to 200 yards, no problem. Drawbacks? Yeah, they're there. You won't be laying down suppressive fire with one. And loading that tube mag can take some time, especially under pressure. Some of the older models don't play nice with optics, though newer variants fix that with rails or scout-style mounts. Price-wise, you're looking at around $500 for a used shooter in decent shape. Want something new or a premium build? You're nudging north of $1,000. But either way, it's money well spent. Bottom line? A lever-action rifle paired with a matching revolver in .357 or .44. Magnum is a setup that's been getting it done for over a century and will keep doing it when the lights go out and the roads get quiet. The concealed carry micro 9mm. When the goal's to blend in, not draw attention, there's nothing handier than a micro-compact 9mm pistol. These little fellas ride with you day in and day out, not just when you're heading somewhere shady, but because you never know when trouble's gonna come looking for you. At the front of the pack is the Sig Sauer P365, the micro that turned everything on its head. Back in 2018, this pistol dropped a double-stack magazine into a single stack-sized frame. And the carry world hasn't looked the same since. 10+1, even 12+1 rounds tucked into something that vanishes under a t-shirt? That was a turning point, and to this day, the rest of the field's been trying to catch up. Other top dogs in this category include Glock 43X Glock 48. You get classic Glock reliability in a slim profile, 10-round standard mags, and the option to run those aftermarket Shield Arms 15-rounders if you need the extra juice. Smith & Wesson Shield, plus known for its natural grip, a smooth, flat-faced trigger, and an upgraded capacity in a platform that's earned its stripes. What these pistols all bring to the table is simple. Small enough for inside the waistband carry, appendix, or even the front pocket of your favorite jeans. Chambered in 9mm, a sweet spot for recoil, performance, and easy-to-find ammo. Built to ride all day long without rubbing or printing like a boat anchor strapped to your hip. Now, let's be honest, they ain't perfect. That short sight radius means hitting targets at longer distances takes more focus. The snappier recoil can make fast follow-up shots a little trickier. And if you've got bare paws for hands, the small grip might feel a bit cramped. But here's what matters most, you'll actually carry it. This ain't a safe queen, it's the one that tags along when you're making a quick run to the feed store, taking a walk through the cottonwoods, or sitting down for supper at the diner. It's there when you need it, no excuses, no regrets. Price-wise, plan to spend somewhere between $450 and $600. There's plenty of options out there to match your hand size, your carry style, and your peace of mind plan. In a world where trouble doesn't knock before it kicks the door in, a micro 9mm is the quiet little partner that might just keep you breathing. These 5 firearms, each born from a legacy of innovation and real-world necessity, cover a wide spectrum of capability. From filling the freezer to securing your perimeter or defending your life discreetly in public, they're more than just gear. They're instruments of self-reliance. They represent the principle that when systems fail, you are your own first responder. They aren't just weapons, they're tools for protection, provision, and peace of mind in uncertain times. But here's the hard truth. Owning a firearm is only one part of the equation. Without training, a gun is just a paperweight. Without a prepared mindset, it becomes a liability instead of an asset. Regular practice. Real-world scenario drills. Consistent maintenance. And the wisdom to know when and when not to act. That's what separates the well-prepared from the merely armed. Because at the end of the day, preparedness isn't about paranoia. It's about cultivating the competence and resilience to adapt and overcome no matter what the world throws your way. Stay sharp, stay practiced, and stay free. So what's your cornerstone platform when it comes to readiness? Is there a must-have tool we didn't cover in this lineup of essentials? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take, whether it's a trusted rifle that's always by your side, a revolver you'll never let go of, or that one piece of gear you think everyone overlooks. If this breakdown brought you value, give it a thumbs up. Share it with friends who live by the same code. And subscribe for more deep dives into the gear and tactics that matter most. Preparedness isn't about guessing what comes next. It's about standing ready for whatever does. Because with the right mindset and the right tools, you don't just survive, you endure. Stay ready, stay steady, and we'll see you next time on Beam Firearms.